Hey, it's Dr. Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, and I got the idea to make this video from one of my awesome followers. Thank you for the recommendation. We realized we did not have a video like this, so I told her I would make it. So I'm gonna do my best to talk about mechanics that open a bite, and by opening a bite, I mean taking a slightly deep bite and leveling the curve of spee and opening it a little more in the front so that we don't have such a big vertical issue. Or closing a bite, taking a patient with a potential high angle face, with a potential long face, uh, a patient that's growing downwards and backwards instead of clockwise, and trying to avoid mechanics that are going to make that worse. We may not be able to deepen that case, like fully deepen it. That's a really, really, really hard movement to do. It's a lot easier to do the opposite. Much easier to open a bite than it is to deepen a bite. But we can perhaps choose mechanics that will mitigate that. You know, most of the orthodontic mechanics out there actually open bites. Very few actually deepen bites. So that's why it's even more critical in a potential long face open bite case to really be cautious what mechanics you're using. So what mechanics do open a bite? Well, almost everything opens a bite. Braces open a bite. Anything that's moving things out, leveling the curve of spee, proclining, expanding, moving things forward is going to open a bite. So, like I said, braces, elastics, anything with extrusive forces, expansion, leveling a curve of spee, proclination, a sagittal expander that's moving things forward or back, anything that's moving in the AP or sagittal direction. Anything that's expanding, like an expander, is going to open a bite. Okay, so you guys get the idea. What could potentially close a bite? Well, a couple things. One, anything where you're removing tooth structure will close a bite. IPR will help to close a bite, or at least make the appearance that the bite is opening less. Let's see, removing teeth will close a bite. Doing sequential distalization, or I'm not going to say a carrier because a carrier has an extrusive mechanic. So just regular sequential distalization, like in Invisalign, will close a bite. Actually, Invisalign in general will help close a bite a little bit because it covers the teeth and it prevents extrusion. That's why we often see POBs, or posterior open bites, in the back, because it actually has a bite closing effect. In terms of expansion, since we talked about expansion, we talked about expanders open a bite. Well, the Invisalign palatal expander helps to close a bite. Why? Because it covers the tops of the teeth. Same thing if you did a bonded expander, one that had acrylic coverage. I don't like that. It causes all kinds of decay because you can't take it out, but it could potentially help to close a bite while you do expansion. So in general, if you had to put things in buckets, braces, elastics open a bite, aligners, anything that covers the tops of the teeth, close a bite. Removing tooth structure through extractions or IPR closes a bite. Moving things out or forward opens a bite. So just keep that in mind when you're picking your treatment plan, especially if you have a patient with either a severe low angle or a severe high angle, so that you don't sway things in the wrong direction, because once you take it to that point of no return, there's no way you're going to be able to fix this. So you want to kind of just keep things under control as much as possible. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, those are all things that the doctor can control. What about the variables the doctor cannot control? The variables on the patient themselves. The patient has their own forces. They can actually do things to open a bite for sure. So any type of myohabits are going to open a bite. Why? Because the tongue is going to move things forward, right? It's going to be a force that's going to want to procline more. Or if it's a lateral force, it's going to want to expand in a weird way more. That is going to open a bite. So any type of external habits like thumb sucking could potentially open a bite. So you have to, if there is, and even airway issues, like mouth breathing, patient has nasal blockage, sleeping with their mouth open at night, you might not see it in the office, but that's gonna open a bite. So if you don't control for those myohabits before you start the ortho, and it's a long face case, I don't care what type of mechanics you're using the best bite closing mechanics that are out there, it's not going to work. You can finish a case really, really, really nicely. If let's say it's an anterior open bite case, and you're yanking those incisors down and you're doing a bonded retainer, guess what? You're going to lose. bite's going to open afterwards, and patient's going to complain, and you're going to have to give a refund. So that's why you don't want to take these cases. I mean, a lot of you are trying to do these ironclad informed consents. Trust me, it's not going to hold up with the dental board. It's not going to hold up with anyone, because they're going to go find some orthodontist who knows what to do, and they're going to say, nope, they didn't do standard of care. They didn't control the habit ahead of time. Now, do a lot of orthodontists not do that? Yeah, correct. A lot don't. But guess what? They're orthodontists, so they can get away with it, and they can defend themselves better because they've been to residency. Because you are a general or a pediatric dentist, you have to do things to the letter of the law. You have to do things right. If the patient needs myo, patient needs myo. Got to do it. Patient refuses to get myo, well, then maybe you shouldn't be taking that case. Patient can go get jaw surgery later. So, or let someone else take that case. You don't want to get messy in that case, because that case is going to blow up in your face later. It's just a matter, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and you're going to have to deal with it down the road. So don't be greedy. Don't take these cases you shouldn't be taking. You know, if they didn't do their part and control their habit, you know, or even get the information about controlling their habit, you don't want that patient. You're going to regret it later. So I can only say that because it's happened to me, you know, when I didn't know that much about myo enough times, and I see it happening to you guys. They're like, oh, it's fine. And then 3 years later, I'm with enough of these doctors now long term where it's like, it's not funny. But I'm like, I told you, don't take that case. So when I say don't take it, don't take it. That would be my suggestion, because I'm just trying to prevent you from having heartache later. But it's all a matter of getting OMTs in your practice. It's really not hard to have a dentist in your practice or a hygienist in your practice, or ideally both, trained up in OMT. It's a 3 to 4 day course. Now, I have to tell you, I know a lot about OMT. I've attended some of the classes. Am I certified? No, because I do not have the personality or patience to do this at all. Like, I think it's fascinating, but I've been through OMT treatment myself, and it's the most tedious thing in the world. I absolutely cannot handle it. So, and I loved it. Don't get me wrong. If my OMT is listening to this, it just wasn't for me to be a provider. I know that much. But if I was in a practice, I would find that person who thinks it's actually interesting, who's patient and methodical, who can do that. And then you can build this into your ortho treatment plans. You don't have to charge the price the OMTs are charging. The outsourcing ones are the ones you refer to. Keep your patients in-house. You can bundle it, you know, and keep the fee really low, or you just keep it as part of the fee, as a part of the ortho fee. If you can pull that off, that would be great. Then they finish their OMT component first with the OMT. And once they successfully finish that, we move on to the ortho component. Nothing wrong with doing that. I have plenty of offices that are doing that. They usually do charge something extra though, because they got to somehow give the production to the hygienist, usually, who's doing it. Now, if it's the dentist that's doing it, different story. You can do what you want. So, all right. Hopefully this was a helpful video. Comment below if you have any questions. Thank you.